Most people believe they failed because they didn't work hard enough, not because they weren't smart enough, focused enough, disciplined enough. That belief is comforting, because it keeps the world fair. But what if the truth is simpler and much harder to accept? What if the system you're in was never designed for you to win? Not because you're weak, not because you made the wrong choices, but because the system only works when most people don't. Make it, it filters people out quietly, legally, profitably, and the most successful thing it ever did was convincing you that the failure was your fault. If you've ever felt like you did everything right and still fell behind, this isn't a story about them, it's about you. Success is no longer something you achieved, it's something you're sold. Once, success was measured by what you built, solved, contributed, or endured. Today, it's often measured by what you can make others believe about you, and what you're willing to pay to believe in yourself. We live in the age of the motivation industry, a global machine that monetizes hope, packages confidence, and turns struggle into subscription content. Everywhere you look, someone is selling you a blueprint, a 12-step formula, a 6-figure promise. They tell you, if I did it, so can you. But what they're really saying is, if I can convince you I did it, you'll pay to try. This isn't just self-help. It's a business model powered by online courses, masterminds, coaching funnels, and algorithm-friendly gurus who've turned inspiration into inventory. They sell the dream with polished camera angles, emotional piano music, and carefully edited stories of climbing from nothing to everything. But listen closely. It's always the same story: a dropout turned millionaire, a nobody who made it big, a journey from couch to cash. Over and over again. The same handful of people are held up as proof that anyone can make it. But if anyone could, we wouldn't need to keep buying the story. In reality, the product is not success. The product is belief. Your belief that you can do it too. That your next course, next strategy, next mentor will be the one. But here's the truth. When everyone is selling the dream, the real money is in the selling, not the dreaming. You didn't fail because you weren't committed. You failed because you were convinced that buying belief was the same as building reality. And that confusion, it wasn't accidental. It was engineered. They told you it was a race, that if you worked harder, longer, smarter, you'd win, that the world was fair, and success was a finish line anyone could reach, if only they wanted it badly enough. That's what we've been told over and over again, by institutions, by media, by mentors, by strangers on stage with clip-on microphones and PowerPoint slides titled, "How I Made It." But here's the truth. This was never a race. It's a filter. And the difference is everything. Because in a race, everyone gets to run. In a filter, most are quietly removed, long before the finish line is ever in sight. When you scroll through success stories online, what do you see? The top 1%. The against all odds survivors. The entrepreneurs who dropped out of college and built empires. The single moms who became millionaires. The teenagers who invented apps and sold them before graduation. They're presented as proof that anyone can make it. That if they did it, what's stopping you? But what you don't see, what you're not supposed to see, are the hundreds of thousands who tried just as hard, for just as long, and walked away with nothing but debt, disappointment, and silence. They're not part of the story, not because their stories don't matter, but because their stories don't sell. In psychology and statistics, it's called survivorship bias, the logical error of focusing only on the people or things that survived a process, while ignoring those that didn't. It's the startup that raised $20 million, not the 4,000 startups that shut down in 6 months. It's the artist who went viral, not the 10,000 uploading every day to no audience. It's the fitness influencer with abs and a book deal, not the exhausted single parent who gave up because rent was due. We see the tip of the iceberg and mistake it for the whole, because that's what the system wants. That's how it protects itself. The illusion of fairness is more powerful than fairness itself. Because if the system looks fair, then failure must be your fault. Let's talk numbers. How many people who buy an online course actually finish it? How many mentorship programs track long-term outcomes? How many job applications are rejected without acknowledgement, let alone feedback? The answer is almost all of them, but the data rarely makes it to the surface. Not because it's hard to collect, but because it's bad for business. Success is a product now. And to sell it, you need clean stories. Clear winners. People who can say, I made it. You can too. Failure muddies the message. So we bury it. We don't interview the people who tried 5 businesses and failed all of them. We don't profile the graduates who followed every step and still couldn't find work. We don't highlight the creators who posted every day for 5 years and never went viral. Their stories aren't marketable. They raise uncomfortable questions. They prove that effort doesn't always equal outcome, and that makes people uneasy. So instead, we pretend they never existed. Their efforts vanish into inbox archives. Server logs and deleted dreams. They disappear. Quietly, you don't see the people who tried just as hard, because the system makes sure they disappear. Quietly. That's not a metaphor. It's a feature of the system. Silence isn't an accident. It's policy. Let's say a platform sells 10,000 online courses promising financial freedom. Only 200 buyers end up launching a profitable business. Instead of acknowledging the 9,800 who failed, the platform highlights the 20 who made the most. They put them in ads. They ask them for testimonials. They host them on panels. Meanwhile, the others are forgotten, but their money wasn't. Their hope, their desire to believe, was real. And it was profitable. That's the model. Hope in, money out. Silence after. And as long as we keep buying the next version of the dream, nothing has to change. It works because it plays on something human. We don't want to believe the system is rigged. We want to believe it's hard, yes, but fair. We want to believe effort matters. We want to believe we have control. And when things go wrong, we look inward. We tell ourselves, I didn't try hard enough. I must have missed something. I need another course, another mentor, another tool. We don't say, maybe the system is structured so most people don't make it. Because that would mean it's not just us, and that's both comforting and terrifying. Most systems we engage with, education, employment, online opportunity, are structured like pyramids. They require mass participation at the base, so a few can reach the top and be showcased as proof. But the rest? They're not designed to succeed. They're designed to support the illusion. You're told anyone can win, but not everyone, not even most. Because then the system collapses. So what happens? We reward a few very publicly. We eliminate the rest very quietly. And we keep the cycle moving. It's not evil. It's not personal. It's just how the system stays profitable. Here's what you need to hear. You're not lazy. You're not broken. You're not alone. You're one of millions who were told that the finish line was theirs for the taking, then handed a treadmill and blamed for being tired. Your silence is not your fault. It was expected. You weren't meant to be the story. You were meant to be the fuel that powers the story. But now you know better. And when you see the filter, when you name it, you don't walk through the world the same way. You ask better questions. You protect your hope. You choose your beliefs more carefully. And you begin to understand that your value was never based on the outcome. The greatest trick the system ever pulled wasn't keeping you out. It was convincing you that everyone else got in, that your struggle was private, that your failure was personal, that your exhaustion was proof you didn't belong. But it wasn't that it was proof that you tried. In a world where trying was never meant to be enough. And that makes you visible again. We love to say hard work pays off. That effort is what separates the winners from the rest. That hustle is the great equalizer. But let's be honest. If hard work guaranteed success, the world would look very different. Single mothers would run banks. Immigrants would own the companies they clean. Nurses would be millionaires. Teachers would never need a second job, but they don't, and they do. Because hard work decides how long you stay in the game. But timing decides whether you win. The truth is simple. The system doesn't reward effort. It rewards positioning. Where you start. When you enter, who opens the door for you? We don't all start at the same line, but we're all told the race is fair. Some people are born into networks, introduced to decision makers before they even finish school, backed by capital that cushions every risk they take, given years to experiment, fail, and learn because rent isn't breathing down their neck. Others walk in late, alone, broke, and invisible. And when they fail, they're told it's because they didn't want it enough. But behind most success stories, if you zoom out just enough, you'll find the same patterns. Not brilliance, not genius, not effort beyond measure, just access. To money, to markets, to timing, to momentum that compounds over time that we call it meritocracy. But it's just a story, carefully curated, endlessly repeated, and designed to make the winners feel like they earned everything, and the rest believe they earned nothing. Early access is the real advantage. It's the startup founder who got into crypto before the media cared. The creator who joined YouTube when the algorithm still had room to breathe. The brand that scaled on Facebook ads before the prices tripled. They didn't work harder. They got in before the gate closed. Every system has a window, and every window closes. After that, the rules change, slowly, quietly, and always in favor of the ones already inside. It's not a conspiracy. It's just scale. Platforms reward the loudest signals. Money rewards more money. The rich get tax breaks, interest rates, and second chances. The rest get courses about mindset. The algorithm doesn't care about your potential. It cares about your momentum. It amplifies what's already winning. And once something becomes popular, it gets cheaper to promote, easier to trust, and harder to compete with. By the time you show up, the spotlight's already sold out. But the system doesn't tell you that. Instead, it tells you the idea that everyone starts the same, that this is still the early days, that all you need is hustle, grit, and a dream. But behind the scenes, the top 1% are closing ranks, buying your attention, reselling your hope, scaling with your ambition, not theirs. You're playing on a field they designed, a field where every move you make funds their advantage, and they'll never tell you the game has changed because they need you to keep playing. They'll post motivational quotes about failure. They'll write LinkedIn threads about mindset. They'll pretend their struggle is your struggle, but their runway was longer. Their losses were covered. Their access was inherited. Their second chances were expected. It's not evil. It's not even personal. It's just how the system compounds in one direction. And then calls it deserved. Because the most powerful lie ever told wasn't that hard work pays off. It was that hard work is all it takes. If the system fails you, it calls it motivation. If you fail in the system, it calls it weakness. It doesn't ask what you were up against. It doesn't care what you were carrying. It just says, work harder, wake up earlier, fix your mindset, be more grateful. And if none of that works, well, you must not want it enough. That's the trap. Because when systems fail, they don't apologize. They are EBRND. They take your struggle and sell it back to you as a personal development opportunity. Suddenly, burnout is a mindset issue. Debt is a lack of discipline. Anxiety is a failure to journal. Poverty is a branding problem. It's not the economy. It's not inequality. It's not generational barriers or structural disadvantages. No. It's you. You didn't believe in yourself enough. You didn't visualize hard enough. You didn't read the right books. You didn't invest in your inner peace. This is how the system protects itself, by making your failure your fault, not because it's true, but because it's profitable. Because if you believe the problem is inside you, you'll spend your whole life trying to fix it, without ever questioning what you were put inside of. Self-help becomes a form of self-blame. Improvement becomes endless homework. Healing becomes hustle. And peace becomes a subscription. You become a project. Endlessly broken. Endlessly responsible. Endlessly consuming solutions to problems you didn't create. Meanwhile, the system keeps winning. It wins when you question your discipline instead of your conditions. It wins when you burn out trying to be good enough for a game you never designed. It wins when you stop asking, wait, who made these rules? The truth is, most people aren't broken. They're exhausted. From running in circles. From blaming themselves. From being told that if they just smiled more, they'd be okay. That's not growth. That's gaslighting. You're not failing because you lack clarity. You're failing because clarity doesn't build equity. Because mindset doesn't pay rent. Because gratitude won't break a generational pattern of being underpaid and overworked. Toxic. Positivity tells you to be thankful for the struggle, to smile through the pressure, to turn pain into content. But what if the real act of self-love isn't more positivity? What if it's finally saying, no, I'm not the problem here. I'm reacting normally to something that was never built for me to thrive in. That's not giving up. That's waking up. Because systems don't change when individuals blame themselves. They change when individuals realize the blame was always misplaced. You don't need another app. You don't need another morning routine. You don't need another course on how to be more productive inside a machine that's built to burn you out. You need permission to feel what's true. That you're not crazy. You're not lazy. You're not ungrateful. You're aware. And awareness isn't weakness. It's the beginning of getting free. Not everyone can win. That's not defeatism. It's math. There are only so many followers to go around. Only so many top spots. Only so many viral videos, fundable startups, best-selling books, perfect bodies, perfect mornings. The system isn't designed for everyone to succeed. It's designed for a few to succeed loudly, and for the rest to keep trying quietly. You were told to aim for the top. But not everyone gets there. And if everyone tries to climb the same ladder, it's not a path, it's a bottleneck. But here's the thing no one tells you. You don't have to win the game to stop being played by it. You don't have to buy into a version of success that was never yours. You don't have to chase someone else's outcome to validate your worth. You don't have to be a winner in their system to be whole in your own. Real success isn't about outperforming others. It's about refusing to be defined by a system that profits from your doubt. It's knowing that exhaustion isn't weakness. It's evidence. That burnout isn't failure, it's friction. That your limits don't make you broken. They make you human. They told you to run faster. To optimize every moment. To chase the vision, but you can stop running, you can stand still. Look around. And ask, what if I was never the problem? What if I was just never supposed to win in something that wasn't built for me? That's the beginning of something more honest. More grounded. More yours. Not a perfect life. Not a viral story. But a life lived on terms you chose, not one sold to you. If success was really about hard work, most people wouldn't be exhausted, they'd be rich. The truth is uncomfortable. But at least now, it's visible. You don't owe this system your faith. You don't owe it your silence, and most of all, you don't owe it yourself. If this story made you pause, even for a moment, then maybe it's a story worth keeping. Alive. Like, comment, share. Not because we told you to, but because someone else might need to hear it. 2. And if you want more stories like this, subscribe. Quietly. Thoughtfully. The algorithm doesn't reward silence. But we do. Thank you for watching.